This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
The heads of state have got an old guard, and Jurassic World's getting shrouded. I'm Van Connor.
And I'm Adam Ball, and this is Off Screen, your 7-day guide to everything movies.
Boom. Groovy.
So here we are then. Welcome back to another week of Off Screen. We have loads of movies to look at this week. We're going to look at The Old Guard 2. We've got Heads of State. We've got Jurassic World Rebirth. We're going to look at the Shrouds as well in a moment. But as always, myself and Van are going to quickly look at the box office top 10 for this week and see what's making the dollar, Van. What is making the dollar?
Well, we've got two foreign language films that I haven't seen this week. First of all, they're like 10 and 8, respectively, so we might have to exclude those. Number 9, we've got The Salt Path, which is now 5 weeks into release and still pulling in like a decent chunk, a couple $100 grand, like 141 grand. So it's at 7.5, but that's a good little earner, that one, The Salt Path. And it's a very good film that I think skews slightly older and has wonderful performances from Jason Isaacs and Julian Anderson. I was quite a fan of this. I think you'd love it. It's a really lovely looking film. It's all on that coastline as well. I know you're a big fan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I love that. So that's at number 9. As you say, we'll skip number 8. Number 7. I mean, this is doing really well. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning,
right.
325 grand in the last week. It's been out for 7 weeks, and it's got over 25 million in total.
Yeah, people are still like, do you know what it is? Because Mission Impossible is so much about the theatrical experience. So there is reason that it can have legs in that regard. You know, that's always been the case with Mission Impossible. Really, they have gotten like exponentially more successful as they've gone on, I think. But I mean, it would get me back to an IMAX if there was like a one-off, like have another go in IMAX kind of showing. I'd go again, definitely. Number 6, though, I want to talk to you about this. Megan 2.0. Right, this came out last week. It's made £500,000. It's straight in at number 6. That's worrying, right? Like, this has been kind of the entertainment industry story for the past week. Like, it bombed in the US and kind of has here as well. Number 6 is not good for the first week of Megan 2. Like, how popular was Megan?
Should be number 3 or number 2, really, shouldn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, you'd expect it would have been like a number 2 grosser, possibly number 1, because people loved that first one. But this thing has sunk like a stone, and it's the tonal shift away from horror to the sort of sci-fi action stuff. And Jason Blum, who runs Blumhouse, has like purposefully invited himself, like requested, can I come on the Town podcast the other day on Tuesday, I think. And he specifically wanted to talk about like where they'd gone wrong and try and identify why it hadn't done well. And he thought, I think this is a learning experience I think we all need to share. Too few producers talk about their failures, their misses rather than their hits. And you're like, okay, that's quite interesting. And it was a fascinating podcast. Highly recommend that. That was Tuesday's episode of The Town with Matt Bellamy. So I'm a big fan of that one.
On to number 5, and this is quite an interesting observation. So Lilo and Stitch is on its 7th week, but in its 7th week, it made more than Megan 2.0.
Exactly, right. And it's like the most like financially successful one overall in the top 10 at the minute.
Yeah.
It's like 35 million. Hits digital. It's just hit digital as well, I believe, on I forget what platform. I'm probably Disney Plus, but it has just hit digital as far as I know, because it's quite a quick turnaround release. It's also interesting that Elio is at number 4, so it's like the 2 Disney films are smack in the middle of the top 10. Elio has made just over £2 million. I love this movie, and it's just gotten kind of shortchanged. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes drama coming out about it, and changes, and killing representation and stuff like that, which isn't looking great. But it's a shame because I found it a really lovely film.
Yeah, I'm still yet to see it, and I do want to see it, mainly because you said it looks like you, and he does look a little bit like you, to be quite fair.
I had AI actually translate me into Elio's style of animation, and it does look exactly the same. It's weird. Also, look exactly like my nephew, weirdly. Number 3, How to Train Your Dragon. This is still like earning the big bucks. That brand is really strong. Like just under £16 million made for this. Did your son get to see How to Train Your Dragon?
No, but my other half went, and she took her daughter, and she said it was brilliant.
I'll bet. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. This thing it's catnip to a new generation of kids in so much of an easy slam dunk that they literally don't have to bother expending the effort to change a single thing about it. Which you think, oh, fair enough. You know, I'm not going to complain because the film's good. You know, it's not like it's a bad movie. It's just the same movie. So you can't really begrudge it. And, you know, the generation that grew up with it when it was new are now parents themselves. So, of course, it is like a generational thing. Absolutely understandable.
I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Literally that. Opposite case with 28 years later, however. Number 2, £9.7 million. The interesting thing about 28 years later is it's using its brand to tell a story and nothing more. It's not about the brand. It's not like 28 Weeks Later where it is about, you know, the world building in a sense. It's interesting how well made this is. And also a great Brexit analogy it winds up becoming. Like, that's the really it's a film about Brexit. It's so odd. Right, so last but certainly by no means, number 1. I know we've been talking about this for the past week, haven't we? Yeah.
Yeah, F1, second week of release. It's at over £7 million. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's got Brad Pitt in. It's topical. Obviously, the Formula One season is well underway. Silverstone's happening this weekend, and that's where some of this was filmed. And I didn't realise that they actually let the film crew enter some of the Formula One teams' offices and factories as well in Oxfordshire.
Because there's a lot about this that has to be practical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a Joseph Kosinski movie. He's going to try and make this as real as he can under the limitations of his concept, effectively. But you look at like Top Gun Maverick, and you look at how the flying scenes were shot in Top Gun Maverick, and how like groundbreaking they are. You know, that's the Joe Kosinski effect. The man is a sort of practical visual effects answer to Michael Mann. Like, he's a very technical man, but he's also got a little bit of cheesy heart to him that I think bleeds through in like the Brad Pitt and Javier Bardem characters and the relationship with Carrie Condon and things like that. But I also quite like the sort of brotherly rivalry that sort of winds up emerging between the two. It's very well done. I mean, he is just, you know, Days of Thunder Maverick, but it's, you know, a 5-star, well-made, top-tier version of that. So, you know.
Done really well. Okay. Well, there we go then. Let's dive into our first movie. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you think of this one. So it's got Guy Pearce in. It's called The Shrouds. It's sort of a drama horror from what I can make out.
Well, it's a Cronenberg. It's a Cronenberg flick. We have a new Cronenberg.
Yay!
This is from Cronenberg Senior. This is David Cronenberg, you know, the OG. And he's not skipped a step. So this time around, he has written and directed this film. Stars Vincent Cassel. And Vincent Cassel is a businessman who, do you know what? I'm gonna play the clip first, and this is him on a blind date, and they kind of explain the setup of him, and I'll fill in the rest after. Have a listen.
You own a restaurant in a cemetery. That says something, don't you think?
I'm part owner of the cemetery too. It's kind of a showcase for my business. Does that say more?
Well, I think that the decor in here says something, although I'm not sure what. Those ominous metallic ninja things.
Those are the shrouds.
Shrouds? You mean like burial shrouds?
Yes. I invented them.
Oh, so I love the sound of this. It's all kind of mystery, and I'm just asking questions already in my head about what's going to come next.
There's more. Okay, so these shrouds are literally like 3D scanners. You cover a body in them, and you bury your loved one in the cemetery, and you can using a video link, you can see like a 3D representation of your loved one at any time in their particular that current state of decomposition, because it literally scans them like through and through. And someone starts to meddle with this. There's also about this relationship that Cassell has with his dead wife's sister, and how there's also an element in which he is still, hung up on his wife, of whom's twin, by the way, he is having this illicit affair with. And when they cut the video link, it all starts to mess with him. It's very Cronenberg, you got to give it that, but it's weak Cronenberg. This has nowhere near the panache of his earlier efforts, goes without saying, when he was at his best, when he was at his Videodrome, when he was The Fly for me is peak Cronenberg. And I even have a soft spot for, Existenz. I think the last great Cronenberg film was probably outside of History of Violence. Oh, and Eastern Promises. Total lie. But I think the problem is that he goes through these prolonged periods in which he just makes kind of random, incoherent nonsense. And this is a film that is that, but seems to think that leaning on intensity is suspenseful, and intensity isn't suspense. They're very different things. You can use intensity to build suspense, but it's not a replacement for it. Cassell, though, is very good in this clearly well-directed role, because the performance is very much to a frequency and, that only Cronenberg himself is on. Very well made. Well, Cronenberg movie, so of course it is. It's just not a particularly accessible one to anyone, I think, besides David Cronenberg at times. It's like, okay, fair enough. But great performance. Performance from Vincent Cassell. I'll give it that. That's my, my silver lining. Great Vincent Cassell performance.
Well, The Shrouds, you can see in cinemas from today. It's out and ready for you if you fancy it this weekend. Okay, still to come. Heads of State we're going to look at a bit later. Movies that are on Freeview this week that you can watch from the comfort of your very own home. But next, we'll see what Van thought to Jurassic World Rebirth. Stay there.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Hey, it's Paris. I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
Hello and welcome back to Off Screen. We are going to dive straight into our next movie then. It is the new Jurassic World Rebirth. And if you were listening to the last block, you might have heard an involuntary snuffle from Van when I mentioned Jurassic World Rebirth. And to me, that's a big clue on what we're about to hear. Van, it's over to you.
I mean, I've chilled on it. Over the course of I think near fortnight since I saw it. I mean, they were out and proud with it, and I was okay. Never mind. We'll get to it. So, Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the 7th film now in the Jurassic Park, franchise. You've also got the Netflix animated show that I think takes place between a couple of the Jurassic World movies that's called Camp Cretaceous, and apparently is canon. It takes place on the island during the events, I think, of Jurassic World, I was told. I've not seen it. My nephew's into it. So, of course, we had the Jurassic Park trilogy. We had the Jurassic World trilogy. We've now got I don't know if this is the start of a new trilogy with the Jurassic World trilogy. Just Jurassic World in a subtitle. So, yeah, just be another Jurassic World trilogy. So this one is directed by Gareth Edwards, who made Rogue One and Monsters and the 2014 Godzilla. You remember Godzilla? Like, that was a great movie. That I loved it. Not enough Godzilla, but great movie. And of course, the creator in recent years, which I think which didn't go down very well, and was a movie about AI with John David Washington, and I think I thought was very good, but it just didn't go down anywhere near as well as I think it was meant to. So he's directing from a script by David Cope, who obviously wrote the previous Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, writer on Spider-Man. Man has 3 Oscars. I mean, he wrote most of the tentpoles of the last, 20-odd years that you love. My point is, this is made with, real caliber talent. It is also, however, known that Gareth Edwards was very much a last-minute director for hire, brought on, very little prep time. Can you deliver this big special effects-driven blockbuster on time because we have a release date? Okay, it's very much that. And I felt that in this movie. So, the plot this time around is a paleontologist, played by Jonathan Bailey from Wicked, is approached by a mercenary, played by Scarlett Johansson. I repeat, a mercenary. Like someone who goes into war zones and fights battles, played by Scarlett Johansson, and a pharmaceutical executive, played by Rupert Friend. Slimy Rupert Friend from the Star Wars Obi-Wan show. He was the head Inquisitor guy. You know, the guy who always plays like bad guys. He's the slimy Burke from Aliens corporate type. They approach Jonathan Bailey and say, hey, we want to make this $1 trillion, pharmaceutical company's super drug which cures heart disease, but we need to go to Jurassic Park, the Jurassic World sort of region, because it's now a cluster of islands. They keep adding new islands. And we're now on the 3rd, I think, Jurassic Island. We need to go to this island so we can steal samples from 3 different dinosaurs so that we can deep blue sea our way into this new wonder drug that's going to cure heart disease in this case. I believe it was Alzheimer's in deep blue sea. So they set off to Jurassic World and basically work through this video game level style checklist of having to take out samples from different dinosaurs, without them noticing or disturbing their nest, etc., etc. And then there's a big boss battle at the end. That's the movie, part 1. There is also, however, a B-plot to this in which a family led by the Lincoln lawyer from Netflix, who the actor's name escapes me, is on a sailboat with his college-age daughter, his college-age daughter's douchebag stoner cliche boyfriend, written by someone who's never met a stoner in their life, and a daughter who's about the age of Dora the Explorer and subsequently finds a little dinosaur sidekick. That is everything that's going on in oddly the most forgettable one of these. Okay, so have a listen. This is the clip. This is them explaining which island they're on this time.
Mr. Work here didn't tell us everything that we need to know.
Look, this island was a laboratory of sorts. They conducted experimental work here.
What kind of experiments?
Crossbreeding of species, engineered entertainments, they call them.
Genetically altered freaks?
Any that were malformed or just too damn hard for anybody to look at. They left him here.
Well, that's inhuman. Why not just euthanize him?
The average cost of a created species is $72 million. What would you do? Kill it and have to tell your bank, or just carry it forward under R&D?
What would I do with mutant dinosaurs from an accounting perspective? Is that really the question?
Okay, at the start, you lost me at 7th Jurassic movie, if I'm honest. I just think, quit while you're ahead. Stop it. Do we really need another one?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, it's not that it's not entertaining. There are times in it that you do go, ooh, okay, that's got some classic Jurassic Park moments dotted throughout. But at the same time, there's so much of it that just feels perfunctory. Like, it really just feels like here we go again, another island, another set. We're going to do this bit. We'll do the trapped sequence. We're going to, and you just get so many greatest hits moments from the other movies. You've then got the actual characters, of which, I mean, it really feels like paint-by-number character writing at a point. I mean, Scarlett Johansson, could be played by Ryan Reynolds in this, in one of the weirdest sort of little bits of character writing I've seen in some time. She's supposed to be playing a character who's, really sullen and is mourning the loss of her, comrades and masking it through humor, but it just doesn't work. It really doesn't work. She can't quite play it tough enough. It just comes across as kind of douchey Ryan Reynolds, but from Scarlett Johansson. Mahershala Ali is a character who they seem to just describe trauma to, rather than really let you explore it on its own. But then again, Mahershala Ali is still very likable because he's Mahershala Ali, so he pulls it off in a sense. And Jonathan Bailey, who I think just gets the audience narrator role. It's kind of a, hey, what's that dinosaur? Oh, that's that one. It's that. But it's really badly written, all of it. At one point, they mentioned that like Jonathan Bailey's character understudied with the great Alan Grant. I almost said Alan Frank. That was the guy I would. The great Alan Grant. You know, Sam Neill's character in the first and the third and the sixth ones, if we're keeping tabs now, I think. But you're still thinking, okay, so you worked with that guy, and at no point did you think it was a bad idea to go to Dino Island. Okay, cool. You've then got the jarring A and B plots. You've got Deep Blue Sea going on the one hand, and then on the other hand, you've got Dora the Dino Explorer and family, which does not work. Really doesn't work. It's dragged down by how kiddified the little girl and the baby dino is, which is such a patently desperate but not ineffective attempt to do a baby Yoda in this. You know what I mean? Here's a cute little animatronic one for the kids. And this is a true story. At our screening, they had that thing. They had the animatronic baby dinosaur for us to interact with and to pet and stroke. And we did. Dolores is her name. She's very cute, very well done. Comes in the backpack. I'll send you the video on WhatsApp.
That's cute.
But you're watching it all thinking, I can see what you're trying to do, but the problem is this just feels like too much of a grayscale, like contemporary cinematic color grading, grayscale, CG-laden rehash of stuff that we saw better done, and done practically, it was worth noting, in other movies. We were talking earlier about Joe Kosinski in Formula One and how there is that emphasis on the practical with him. And you think actually Joe Kosinski doing this movie would have made more sense to me than going and getting Gareth Edwards, whom I love. I'm a big fan of Gareth Edwards' work. I think I did the junket with him for Rogue One years ago in 2016, I think 2016. And awesome guy. I've got nothing but love for Gareth Edwards. But he's a CG guy. And Jurassic World and CG, it's lazy and it doesn't work. And because these things have no weight, you don't invest in them quite as much. It's also not helped by the idea that the movie keeps insisting on this subtext of everybody's bored of dinosaurs. And you're like, look, it's the seventh one of these. I don't think there is one that's not like that's not the highest grossing film of its year. Why do you keep telling us how boring you are? It keeps doing it over and over. You're like, shut up.
Yeah, a bit counterproductive.
It really is. And then I'd say because they lean into this element as well, they won't let us have any actual suspense with real dinosaurs, with the velociraptors, which are dealt with literally as a joke in this. You get one very fleeting single sequence with the T-Rex, the Spinosaurus, which was a big threat from the third one, and now this real like minor henchman type thing that now come in swarms. They're that forgettable. It's what Star Trek fans call the Jem'Hadar rule, where the enemy was unkillable the first time, but 2 seasons down the line you can take them out with a single shot kind of level of threat. I mean, you've got all this that then has to lean on mutant dinosaurs, which leads to the single worst creature design, like a distractingly bad creature design, like that the series has really never seen. And the more ham-fisted it becomes with all this, the more cartoonish it becomes, the more it fails to actually utilize the dinosaurs as flesh and blood creatures that are depicted with a sort of warmth and human love, the way that Spielberg famously did, that made them iconic. The more they become ancillary plot devices, they are literally like the barriers to push your characters forward and nothing else. Like they have no identity or character, not to the ridiculous extreme, obviously, that you got out of the blue character in the Jurassic World trilogy, the Velociraptor, the Chris Evans, which one? Oh, Chris Pratt. Sorry, I'm forgetting my Chris's. Bonded. Not to that extreme, but you want them to be rounded, like believable flesh and blood creatures with a soul, effectively. And that's how they've always worked best. That's why the first 2 Jurassic Park movies can never be topped. Because of that very distinct element. This is why you're here. And this movie doesn't have that. It has fleeting thrills, but it is 3-star slop dressed up as obviously not a 5-star meal, but a Nando's. You know what I mean? Like the gold standard of Nando's.
I would agree. Nothing will beat the first two Jurassic Park movies.
I can say it's not the worst one either. It's because Dominion exists. So there you go. That's the one I keep.
Well, Jurassic World Rebirth is in cinemas already, so you can go and check that out whenever you fancy. Right, still to come, The Old Guard 2. We can look at Heads of State in a moment, but next we'll look at movies on Freeview this week that you can watch from the comfort of your own sofa. Next. Welcome back to Off Screen then. We're going to look at the brand new movie out on Prime Video called Heads of State in a moment. But first, let's look at movies on Freeview this week that you can just dive into from home without having to go anywhere. So let's start with today, Friday, the Horror Channel at 10 to 11. I've not seen this, so I don't know anything about it. It's called The Guest.
Yeah, The Guest is on, you say 10 to 11, Horror Channel. I really like this one. This is Dan Stevens. This is an awesome movie. This is the one in which Dan Stevens arrives at a grieving family's home, turns up on the front door, and he says, I served in, I think it's Iraq in this case, Iraq or Afghanistan. I served in the forces with your dead son. I was passing through, I said I'd pay my respects. And he kind of then moves in. And it becomes like an old school psycho thriller, like a single white female style psycho thriller, but like really sexy and sweaty and neon drenched and fabulously shot. And Micah Monroe was a thing became a scream queen for like 5 minutes off the back of this. She had this, It Follows, and the chemistry with her and Dan Stevens is just pure cinematic sex. If you've never seen The Guest, absolutely watch. It's great. Banging soundtrack too as well. Actually, I think it's considered a classic of the recently resurged synthwave genre, which I'm sure you're a fan of yourself, I guess.
Absolutely. Love a bit of synth. Okay, then, well, I mean, I've got to mention this one, haven't I?
Oh, yeah.
Being one of their biggest fans, Oasis Supersonic is on tomorrow, Saturday, on 4, 10 o'clock. I urge you to watch this, even if you're not a massive Oasis fan. It literally shows their rise to fame, how they got signed off of, I mean, literally, Oasis of today, who are about to make up to 100 million quid each for this new tour that they've signed up to do. They started out, obviously, just recording in a Manchester basement. That was it. They then, by chance, ended up getting a gig. I think it was in Scotland, in Edinburgh.
Something like that. Was it? It's like Newcastle or Edinburgh or Glasgow,
somewhere
like that.
Yeah. Just at the right time. They were in the right time, the right place. The owner of the record company who signed them was there. And that was it. They literally went up to them and went, do you want a record deal? And they were like, yeah, may as well.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's a good documentary. It's a really well-made documentary. We both saw this on theatrical release, I think. We went to the cinema. Good time. It was nice to see this actually shown on a cinema screen as well. And obviously timed, as you say, perfectly for the upcoming concerts, the upcoming Oasis 25 tour. So Channel 4 at 10 on Saturday for Oasis Supersonic. 6:20, tea time slot on ITV2 on Sunday goes to Star Trek Into Darkness. Did you ever see this one, Into Darkness?
No, not seen this one.
This was the second of the Kelvin timeline trilogy. This is the Chris Pine as Captain Kirk, another Chris there, Zachary Quinto as Spock, Zoe Saldana as Uhura, the Simon Pegg kind of run, the J.J. Abrams era. This is the one in which there is a terrorist attack on Earth on Starfleet headquarters, and Kirk and the Enterprise crew are sent on a mission to basically hunt down the fugitive terrorist responsible for it, who is none other than Benedict Cumberbatch, the ominous John Harrison. And the best part is, enough time has now passed that most of us have forgotten that they ruined the whole John Harrison thing in the marketing for the movie. So there may actually be people who don't know now. So you can enjoy and watch it in the tea time spot on Sunday, ITV2, 6:20. So Monday, what have we got for Monday?
The Devil Wears Prada, film 4, 10 to 7. And I've seen this, and I thought this is a great movie.
Yeah, this is the one. This is obviously perfect timing as well, because the sequel's just been announced this week as going into production. Devil Wears Prada 2, with everyone returning, it seems, except Adrian Grenier, Vincent Chase Montourage. This is on 10 to 7 on 1850. 10 to 7 on Film 4 on Monday night. Well worth a watch, instantly quotable, great support from Emily Blunt, Stanley Tucci, and of course, an absolute all-timer for Meryl Streep, I think, as well.
It's a classic.
Yeah. So, Tuesday, Talking Pictures TV, 25 past 10. One that I love this one. This is a schlock horror classic. It is. I think it's 1986's, 1986 or 1987, The Stepfather with Terry O'Quinn. You know Locke from Lost, John Locke, the bald.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of where this is one of his first breakout roles. He is the stepfather who, comes to the broken family, his mum's new boyfriend, they get engaged, they get married, and the teenage son, our POV character, starts to suspect that he's not quite being truthful about his past, and there may be something more to him than he let on. He's not quite this innocent guy. And, it's a classic 80s slasher psycho thriller. Got remade in 2009, I believe, with Penn Badgley. I think it's Penn Badgley from You as the teenager, and Dylan, I forget which Dylan he is, from Nip Tuck as the psycho stepdad. And Amber Heard was the love interest in that. Weird thing I just remembered.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Yeah. Yes.
But obviously you can't top the original, obviously.
Then we're moving on to Wednesday. I haven't seen this. Plane, film for 9 o'clock. Plane, Plane, not Plain.
Yeah. Perfect. Gerard Butler, January action. I think this was last year. Gerard Butler is the pilot, and Mike Coulter is the convict being flown on his plane when they crash. They have a plane crash. They're on an island, and they have to band together to stop pirates, to save themselves from the local pirates or cartels or whatever. Idiotic as hell, but such good fun. Really good fun. Really great sort of 9 p.m. weeknight kind of actioner. Be done by 11, with adverts, be done by about 11, 10 past 11, and you can go to bed for the night. Perfect for that.
That's Wednesday, film for 9 o'clock. And finally for this week, Thursday, film for 9 o'clock is Prey. Again, not one I'm familiar with.
This is the Predator movie that's set in the past. This is where the Predator fights a First Nation woman played by Amber Midthunder. So you've got a Native American woman going toe-to-toe with the Predator in the 18th century, 17th century, something like that. And literally using a bow and arrow and a spear and her trusty wolfhound, that she's got going toe-to-toe with, I think it's meant to be the first Predator to arrive on Earth, I think, but that kind of contradicts Alien versus Predator, so I'm not sure where this all fits. But great movie from Dan Trachtenberg, who directed Cloverfield, I'm thinking of. What's the one where 10 Cloverfield Lane, I'm thinking of, where they're in the basement. The really good one. Very, very good movie. And we're getting a sequel this year, Predator Badlands, and we've just had, obviously, Predator Killer of Killers on Disney+, which is all worth a look. This reboot Predator stuff is great. Honestly, check it out.
All right, well, that is your movies that you can watch from home on Freeview. Let's dive straight back into another new movie that is on Prime Video it's already on Prime Video from now, Heads of State. I don't know much about this apart from it's a thriller, action thriller, this one.
This is a classic buddy-up action comedy. The sort of mismatched buddies that have to, they don't like each other and they have to bond over the course of this action.
Lethal Weapon.
Like a Lethal Weapon type mismatched buddy thing. Except here, they are the president of the USA, played by John Cena, and the prime minister, played by Idris Elba. They are on Air Force One together. There is a terrorist attack upon them. They get thrown out of the plane with parachutes on, land in the middle of the forest in Belarus, and have to hike their way back to civilization together, obviously bickering the whole way, only to find out this was only the start of a much bigger conspiracy that may have come from either of their administrations. So have a listen to this clip. This is the pair of them just after they've landed in the forest. This is going to set the tone very nicely for the entire movie.
You all right back there, Derringer?
Fine.
Hearing a lot of panting and snuffling.
I don't snuffle, okay? Besides, don't concern yourself with how another man breathes. Bounders, guy.
Nothing to be embarrassed about. Endurance is tough for guys like you.
Guys like me?
Guys like you, Jim Strong.
Jim Strong?
Jim Strong.
As opposed to?
Strong.
You want to see Jim Strong? I'll rip a tree out of the ground and beat you to death with it, huh?
Go on, then.
What?
Rip that tree out and beat me to death with it. That's what I thought. Silly thing to say, really.
Pick the biggest tree.
See, I genuinely really love the sound of this. And just for a note here, Idris Elba, next James Bond. My vote is right in there.
Too old for me. Too old. I think it's too old. And actually, you do start to see Idris's age for the first time in this. The wear is starting to show. It's because he's keeping the hair shorter as well. He just looks older now. It's worth noticing. So you can hear from the clip, they are really going back into just like their own personas in that exact way that they did in The Suicide Squad, because the pair of them started that together as, I forget the name of Idris's character in that, the one basically he was the Will Smith replacement. He was the sharpshooting assassin guy, which Will Smith had been in the first one, whilst John Cena was Peacemaker, and they had exactly the same banter there. And if you find that banter funny, you will find the movie funny, because that's its big hook. And it works. It really does work, and that is what enables it to overcome being as formulaic as it is. It is very much a throwback movie that's given some panache on the action stylistic side by Ilya Naishuller, who directed Nobody and Hardcore Henry. That was it, the first person action movie from about 10 years ago. Who's also directed Nobody 2 this year as well. So this has some really inventive action stuff in it. Like there's a car chase that at one point just transitions into becoming the very first Grand Theft Auto game, where you were looking down on the car and you were just driving it around. Does that in a way that I think 22 Jump Street had a crack at. I thought was quite fun, and it's nice to see it used again here, because I think that's a fun trick. There's some great sequences in this. There's a camera shot of Idris Elba like with a machine gun just like, leaning over a staircase. That's just incredibly slick, incredibly well done. But again, it's all about Idris Elba playing the most, lent into version he can of the Idris Elba persona, and John Cena doing the exact same, and it being absolutely hilarious. We had a lot of laughs in this. Also, it's got, about a half dozen really strong, like, musical needle drops, to which you think, oh yeah, this movie's produced by James Gunn's best mate. I see now. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to see where it's rubbing off now. Someone's making suggestions, and then you've got a single scene with Jack Quaid, in which he steals the entire movie. I had a great time with this. I've seen it twice now. It's dumb as hell, but a lot of fun, and it is about that central gimmick between the two.
Well, Heads of State, you can watch now if you subscribe to Prime Video. It won't cost you a single penny more. It's there for you to watch. Right, we've got one movie left. We are going to see what Van thought to The Old Guard 2 in just a minute. Stay there.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks. Smooth, bright, deliciously crafted. Introducing Starbucks Sansera Blend, their smoothest, brightest coffee yet. It's a new kind of light roast, one that's packed with so much flavor, it shines no matter how you brew it. So go ahead and try it hot, iced, black, or with a splash of creamer. Visit athome.starbucks.com/Sansera-blend-coffee to bring Starbucks Sansera Blend home.
Have you ever spotted McDonald's hot, crispy fries right as they're being scooped into the carton? And time just stands still. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
So welcome back to Off Screen then. For one last ride this week, we are going to dive into the world of The Old Guard 2. I must admit, hands up, full disclosure, I haven't seen The Old Guard.
No, actually, I liked The Old Guard. It came out in 2020. It was a high-profile Netflix release in 2020. I think it did come out after lockdown began, so it was an at-home thing. Obviously, being Netflix, you kind of assume anyway. It was directed by Gina Prince Blythewood. It's an adaptation of a series of comic books about immortals. And in both cases, stars Charlize Theron as the leader of a gang of immortals. They have all come together over the centuries, and in the first movie, they'd basically taken on a position in life in which they just take out bad people. But the movie ended with them discovering that in actuality they were part of a grander plan, that meant that because they lived forever, every bad person they just happened to take out, or every person that they saved, then had a ripple effect in history. So as I think Chiwetel Ejiofor tells us at one point, take out a warlord in one country and 3 generations later a Nobel Prize is won for chemistry, or something like that.
Like that.
Yeah, so they have, whether they realize it or not, they seem to be part of a grander design. something that becomes quite a big focal point of the second one. So, in this movie, Charlize Theron is now mortal, but she's still with the team. It's, I think, 6 months to a year after the events of the first. About 6 months, I think, after the events of the first movie. So she's getting used to life as a mortal. The rest of the team are still immortal. She is taking part on missions with them. Chiwetel Ejiofor, who did briefly hunt them in the first movie, is now part of the team and is basically running them like a CIA Black Ops division. He is the guy in the chair. He is the Giles of the group. /Q, effectively. And into this mix comes Uma Thurman, who we are told is the first immortal. And she has set her sights on killing the entire team because all of this saving humanity, what have they ever done for us? And is resentful over millennia of having seen the worst of humanity and how they treat, well, not only immortals, but just outsiders in general. And is particularly vexed by having seen them kill Charlize's best friend. I'm just going to say best friend because the movie... we'll get to that. The movie has the chat, and the movie explicitly queer codes this, and then ignores it every chance it gets. But I think she's meant to be Charlize's lover/wife, but it's kind of too chicken to do anything with that. Having seen her locked in an Iron Maiden and dunked in the ocean, obviously Uma Thurman is out for blood and set about hunting our team once and for all, but has also freed Charlize's girlfriend from the Iron Maiden, and she is back in the world. So there's now an extra player on the field who brings with her certain emotional confusion as well. Have a listen. This is The Old Guard 2.
For centuries, I've watched you fight to protect humanity while forsaking your own kind. I will destroy you and everything you stand for with a power you can't even imagine yet. Who is she?
She is the first of the immortals. She knows your histories, your relationships. I am scared of what she is capable of.
I mean, I really like the sound of this. I mean, to be fair, you sold the first movie to me, talking about it then. Like, I want to watch that, and then I want to watch the second one. It sounds like something really up my street.
Do you know what? Really solid double bill, because they're both on Netflix, obviously. Anyway, this is Netflix's big premiere. I really like these. I think these are basically just these are updated Highlander. This is if you adjust Highlander for cultural inflation. I know they keep trying and threatening to do the Highlander remake with I think it's Henry Cavill and Russell Crowe currently. It's just one of those projects that like just I'll believe it when there's a ticket in my hand. You know what I mean? But I think this is a more than suitable and up to the task fill-in for the Highlander series. And of course, it's Charlize Theron, who's brilliant in action movies. Like, she really commits. You ever see Atomic Blonde? Like, she does
yes.
She does like the sustained 10-minute long single shot stairwell fight in Atomic Blonde, and it is next level. And the brilliance of that is it has this knock-on effect where, think about this for a second, if you're any actor worth your salt and you get told, right, you're going to go to work tomorrow and you're going to do action, you're going to work next week, whatever, you can do action scenes with Charlize Theron, like, you are not phoning that in. You're not being like, oh God, I better actually make this as effective and cool as I possibly can. So the choreography is incredible. Like, the choreography is awesome. Like, the fight scenes are great. They're just not very well shot. That's the thing. Like, they're not shot up to the standard that they've actually been staged. They are better staged than shot, if you know what I mean. Like, next level stuff. Like, really good hand-to-hand combat and the use of what's effectively now referred to as gun kata and things like that. Really good, really solid. And also, the characters in this world is quite interesting. And the addition of new lore and mythology into the mix, it doesn't feel like it's too forceful, effectively. It doesn't take it into areas that the first movie didn't, particularly. Even so, it adds more lore. However, it's a little bit too laboured for its own good, and as a result, ends on a to be continued, to which you can't help but feel like, why not have just tacked on an extra like 45 minutes onto this and just done the epic version of this. And obviously the reason is it's a Netflix movie and they can get 2 movies out of it, so fair play to them. But like I say, it also then cowards its way out of the queer-coded relationship between Charlize Theron's character and the character of Quinn, who's been locked in the Iron Maiden. And it's really antagonizing, because I think if there is an actress that you really want to explore this with, it's Charlize, because she has this ability to do, the really frenzied, really well-done action stuff and the seriously investable drama as well. And you would kill to see her get to explore that here. The rest of the cast, though, are still very fun as well. I'd say Charlize is still, kick-ass in this, like to the nth degree. The rest of the cast is still fun. Matteo Schoenaerts is back. He's my personal favourite of this gang. You've got Sexy Jafar and the husband in there as well. I can remember the name of the actor. And, of course, Chiwetel Ejiofor and Kiki Lane. And, of course, then the newcomer into the mix here is Uma Thurman. So they've tried to, I think, build this as a sort of action event because it's the teaming up of Uma Thurman and Charlize Theron. But I don't really think does anyone see Uma Thurman as an action icon just because of Kill Bill? Is that what it is? Like, I don't know.
I wouldn't see her as that, to be fair.
If I say Uma Thurman to you, you probably think Pulp Fiction before you think
exactly. The first, I was about to say, it's the first thing, the picture in my head. Yeah, straight away.
Do you know what, though? She's up to the task here. Like, she is actually, she's giving good villain. Like, she's not going Poison Ivy on this one. Like, she's actually pretty good. I like it. And Henry Golding has been added into the mix as well. He kind of joins the team as another immortal, but he's like the immortal, like, expert. He's the one who's actually, taken a look at them kind of thing and chronicle it and knows the history. So, he's quite an interesting new addition, and he's up to the physical stuff quite well as well. Back on, like, G.I. Joe, Snake Eyes kind of form. But yeah, pretty good, except for the cop-out to be continued ending. Because at that point, you're really in it, and you're like, oh, this just feels like, really? Come on, like, we needed, it didn't even feel like you needed another location. You could have just carried on the plot.
Same as 28 years later.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because I feel like they're pulling it. There's a trick to that I think they're pulling that I will talk to you about. Off
okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah. But also, interesting thing, at the end of 28 Days Later, those characters, you've pointed out to me as well, are dressed as, like, Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Think about the fact that in the 28 Days universe, because of when the infection broke out, Jimmy Savile is still remembered fondly. Like, just bear that
maybe
in mind.
they're fans.
Like, it's a thought that randomly occurred to me. Hang on a minute. Operation U-Tree didn't happen in the 28 Days Later universe because the Met weren't exactly around. So, yeah, that means everyone still thinks of Jimmy Savile like, warm light. What a weird...
God knows where that's going then.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's just a weird insular thing. But yeah, so I would watch The Old Guard 2 and the first one back to back on Netflix. They're good. They're also lean and efficient in getting to the punch, literally and figuratively, as far as, look, we'll sit and we will do character stuff, but we're not sparing action scenes. We're going to give you as many of these as we think are necessary. And I actually do think this is Netflix's best franchise. It's messy, but it is their best franchise. Also, I mean, the first one had... Dudley from Harry Potter as the villain.
I do remember you saying that, but I haven't seen it. But that's 2 movies that are going on my Netflix watch list for sure, because I really do think I like The Old Guard and The Old Guard 2. And you can do the same because they are both on Netflix right now. So before we have a quick look at next week, what we've got coming up, movie of the week. I mean, I think it's quite easy to guess which one you're going to choose.
Heads of State. It's totally Heads of State. Like, I didn't expect much from this, but I thought, it'd probably be a 3-star film at best. But do you know what? It is a 3-star film, but it's a 5-star good time. You're like, yeah, I'm in on this. Like, these two are fun together. I want to watch more of this. I want to watch John Cena mispronounce Leicester Square over and over. That's hilarious to me. And Idris Elba just being like, you're a bit daft, aren't you? All the time. That, I think, is good fun. And also, I say Jack Quaid kind of gets to steal it. Also, bonus points, Carl Gugino in any movie is always a great thing. So, there you go.
Right. Well, let's look at next week. I am really looking forward to knowing what you think to Human Traffic, which we're going to talk about next week, because this is right up my street.
Well, it's being reissued because it's a very light week next week, and they are reissuing Human Traffic in 4K. So I thought, since you never get to really chime in on a new review with me, it's a very rare thing, I thought, well, you know what? It's a 4K reissue. We can actually see it. And and obviously we have an existing relationship with it, personal to both of us because of specifically our age. It's kind of a movie that came out when we were teenagers, like teenagers and uni age, kind of that era.
But I've never seen it ever.
Have you not seen this? It's kind of like, in a sense, it's like a lower key Train Spotting in terms of like what it means to people of a certain generation and what it represents of the British subculture at the time. So you're going to get your chance, because I'm going to sort this out for you, so you will be able to watch the 4K reissue of Human Traffic for this next week. I'm looking forward. You're going to love the music more than anything, because it is so like club scene 1999 kind of a movie.
Yeah, that's what I want. And I'm a Danny Dyer fan as well.
I was just going to say, and also, and this is not something I throw out lightly, Danny Dyer's best role. Not even kidding. Severance comes second. Not the obviously high profile Apple TV Plus show, the trash 2006 slasher movie, which I will also sort for you to watch. We have also got the animated adventure Watch the Skies with Sean Bean and Gemma Arterton. That got delayed from a few weeks ago, is now coming out on the 11th, and I think they put it out because they realised there's not much else out that week. I wonder why everyone's vacated that release week, and the reason, of course, is because Superman is here next week, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, me too. I cannot wait to hear what you think to this new one.
I'm wondering if this, like, for you might be you've got to take Albert like to the cinema first chance and like give him this is Superman in a cinema. This is your first childhood seeing Superman. You're like
4DX.
Yeah, I mean, I know you're a huge fan of 4DX now, yeah. Oh, by the way, I meant to tell you about that. A friend of mine went to Formula One in 4DX, like Stuart Palmer from TalkSport. So, ironically, from TalkSport, this guy, I love him to bits. He's a character. He went to the F1 screening in 4DX and said it nearly broke his back. And he said, those seats aren't comfortable. They're not meant to be comfortable. They're not meant to be comfortable. It's a roller coaster, not a recliner.
Yeah, and I understand what he's saying though, because they do pack a punch. Those seats, they absolutely do.
It's not for the faint-hearted 4DX. It's not for the frail. That one.
No, it absolutely isn't. So I mean, maybe I will go and see Superman in 4DX, but I'm looking forward to hearing what your take is on the new Superman next week. I can't wait. So
I'm expecting good things. I mean, because it's a James Gunn film, and I've had stock in James Gunn for a long time. So this is James Gunn is what Simon Pegg thinks he is. It would be the way to describe how I see James Gunn, to be honest. He actually is the nerd do-well. He's not the sort of, nerd traitor that, Simon Pegg is, off being a preening movie star and, whilst slam talking the very culture that kind of made his career. James Gunn is the guy that embraces it. And also delivers. When he's called upon it, he actually backs up. He backs up what he has, And big fan.
We will find out what Van makes to the new Superman movie on next week's show. That is, of course, all we have time for this week on Off Screen. We will be back next week. Until then, I've been Adam Ball.
I've been Van Connor. Keep it cinematic, and we shall return.